Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have a review on the new fighter jet that came out as part of the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC. So this jet is actually one of the most expensive aircraft in the game, costing $6,855,000, but you can get it for a trade price of $5,141,000 if you complete the mission on Parade. This is one of the new missions that you start from your Project Overthrow missions inside the Avenger. So do those missions if you have the Avenger, because you get paid for the mission, but also you get $1.5 million off. But anyways, about this jet is when you actually customize this jet actually does not have any kind of unique upgrades. It has, missiles, don't get me wrong, and it has a stealth mode, but doesn't have anything extra that you put on here. It just has handling, armor, engine, but it does have some really nice liveries like the American flag on it. So starting off here, I wanted to start off a speed test, and I want to thank my friends Rodriguez and Sebi for helping me out with this. So I'm racing against the Hydra that's on my left and the Laser that's on my right, and we're doing an impromptu race. And I let them get a head start because I was pretty confident that the Raiju would be able to catch up to them and pass them, and I was actually right. So here I'm actually speeding the clip up to save a bit of time because these races were taking us a little bit of time. But anyways, as you guys see right here, at the start of this race, when it starts off, the Laser goes first. It gets a clear advantage on the Hydra, but that's because the Laser has faster acceleration, but the Hydra has a higher top speed, so eventually the Hydra will catch up. But even though I let these aircraft both start off a few seconds earlier before me, I'm catching up to them. And I easily catch up to them, and I pass both of them. Eventually, the Hydra overtakes the Laser, but the Hydra is not able to catch up to me. So, comparing the Raiju to the Hydra and the Laser, Raiju is clearly the faster aircraft. But moving on to the next aircraft here, I wanted to compare it against the Pyro. Now, the Pyro is arguably the fastest aircraft in the game, the fastest jet in the game. How does it actually do against the Pyro? So, I actually let my friend Sebi actually go first here. I wanted to see, would I actually be able to catch up? I thought the easiest way for me to tell if this was faster than the Pyro was to see if I let him go first and I'm right behind him and we keep flying in a straight line, will I eventually be able to overtake him? And the answer is yes. If the Pyro gets a bit of a head start on you, you can eventually catch up to it. It's going to take a little bit of time. Like here, we started at the bottom of the map, and I was able to catch up to him right when we were near Polito Bay. That's when I was about to overtake him. So the Raiju is a little bit faster than the Pyro, but not by much. It's not going to be a considerable, huge difference. I did test it a second time just to be sure, and yes, Raiju is faster than the Pyro. So I guess according to my tests here, the Raiju is now the fastest jet in the game, so we now have a faster jet. I never thought that I would see the day where another jet would actually beat the Pyro in a race. Okay, so it's the fastest aircraft in the game, but how is its handling? How is its agility? Well, the agility and handling are just really good, so air checkpoints conveniently spawned while I was recording this video. And so I decided to try to hit as many air checkpoints as I want, and most of this time, I was actually flying at full speed. I was flying at max speed, and I was actually able to make pretty sharp turns and collect as many of these checkpoints as I could. I did have a few close calls while I was flying around, but it wasn't due to the jet, it was just due to my own personal flying, but I managed to avoid hitting the ground crashing. But I got 101 out of 120 checkpoints. And that's really pretty difficult to do. It's very, very hard to get all 120 on your own. It really depends on I know it's possible, but you have to have a really fast aircraft and you have to really have a good pattern when picking them up. But I got a lot of them. Got a lot of close calls in your building, so the agility on this thing, and just combining it with the speed, it's definitely good, and I definitely think that it's better personally than the Laser and the Hydra. I didn't really have any problems with the agility or the handling on this thing. But how is the jet in dogfighting? It's actually really good. Now, the explosive cannons on this are slow, but to be fair, it's what the Laser and the Hydra are. They're pretty much identical to each other because the Laser and the Hydra cannons have been nerfed now. Now, I dogfighted a few different aircraft. So I dogfighted my friend Sebi a few times here, and Sebi was in a Pyro. And Pyro is actually one of the best, most agile aircraft in the game, and it's an aircraft that a lot of people love to dogfight in. Now, to be fair, me and Sebi are both average pilots. I will admit I'm not, a really good dogfighter. I'm just okay average. I'm much better in helicopters. But, we still tried our best to do a, dogfight here. Now, what I've noticed is when the Pyro gets behind the Raiju, it's actually pretty hard to shake the Raiju, but it's actually the exact same thing if the Raiju gets behind the Pyro. It's actually very hard for the Pyro to shake the Raiju, but the Raiju does have two massive advantages over the Pyro. The first is its explosive gun. When it hits the Pyro, it starts exploding, doing much more damage than the Pyro's machine guns. And the second thing is that the Raiju has a stealth mode. So you can activate the stealth mode at any time. It's really quick, it's instant. You can't use guns to be fair, but at the same time is when you activate that stealth mode, you can do some flips, fly around, try to cut the other person off. The person will lose you. Like, for example, in this case, in the city right here, in this places like this in the city or in hills, when you're dogfighting and you activate stealth mode, it's absolutely perfect in a situation like this because you can get behind whatever other plane is chasing you, take them down really quickly. So I did take down the Pyro in 2 fights here. However, though, when I fought Sebi, when he was in a B-11, the B-11 is actually the aircraft that gave me the most amount of trouble. It was the most agile that I fought against, and it has an explosive gun, and so it tore me up and killed me pretty quickly. However, though, the Raiju can get away from the B-11 very quickly. It's so much more faster than the B-11. However, if the B-11 does get in close quarters with the Raiju, it does have a pretty good chance against it. The Pyro, on the other hand, can kind of match the speed of the Raiju, even though the Raiju is a little bit faster. But the B-11, in my opinion, if it's just close to the Raiju, I think it will be the better aircraft to fight against it. But if your Raiju pilot tries to get away from the B-11, he'll be able to easily outrun it. And lastly, I dogfighted against the Laser right here. Another aircraft that a lot of people dogfight in. I want to thank my friend Rodriguez for help here. And I actually ended up taking down Rodriguez. I shot him down pretty quickly here. I found it a lot easier to get behind the Laser than I did behind the Pyro or the B-11. And as for the guns on this thing, if you're wondering about how it affects ground targets, you could probably kill AI. AI shouldn't really be that much of a problem to kill. As you guys see right here, I was actually doing one of the new hangar resupply missions, and I did blow up some cars, took out some AI, but it's the most effective when you go in hover mode. Because these cannons are just not the same like the Laser and the Hydra anymore. You're not really going to find them other than the Savage. The Savage is really the only vehicle, and that's a helicopter, that has really, fast explosive cannons still left. So if you're going to be killing AI, just go into hover mode with it. Now, as for players, you don't really have to worry about this thing griefing you on foot. I don't really think it's going to be much of a problem. So I told my friend Rodriguez right here, I told him to do his best to try to kill me. I was just standing here, not even fighting back against him, and he did a few runs against me. He hit me a few times, and I think it was his 3rd run where he finally did manage to kill me. So even if somebody hits you on the ground with this thing, the explosion blast is probably not going to kill you unless you have very low health. Because, like I said, people can't spam it like crazy like the previous gun. So it's going to take a few runs to kill you. So by that time, you could probably snack up, or you could get into some kind of cover. So I don't think I would really worry about this thing killing you on foot. And about stealth mode, I will say that stealth mode also has another feature that a lot of people actually don't know about. So not only will stealth mode actually hide you from other players, but it can also hide you from the AI. How exactly? So take a look at this right here. I'm actually taking off. I have 5 stars. Just like with the Stealth Annihilator and the Akula. When you activate stealth mode, it will drop down your wanted level to 2 stars. I have 5 stars right here. Look at that. Drops right down to 2 stars. So keep that in mind. If you have a wanted level over 2 stars and you activate stealth mode with this thing, you can lose cops really quickly with it. And you can outrun cops. You can fly really high up in the air with that 2 stars. You'll lose it really fast. But what I will say about the stealth mode is the stealth mode can be very effective in this aircraft, for dogfighting, for hiding from other players. But even though the aircraft is not much of a threat to players on the ground, I could totally see other players abusing this aircraft in the stealth mode to grief cargo. So the missiles on this thing are like buzzard missiles. They fire 2 at a time, and there's a cooldown for a few seconds. I could totally see a griefer using this with stealth mode, sneaking up behind a plane carrying cargo or a post-op van and blowing it up. So that's what I will say is, watch out for these planes also, because even though they're not much of a threat on the ground, I could totally see people using these to grief cargo vehicles. And lastly here, we have damage. Now, the best weapon against this vehicle is the explosive sniper. If you're on the ground and this aircraft is bombing you, use the explosive sniper. I was trying to bomb my friend Sebi here, tried to kill him several times. I did hit him a few times, but I didn't succeed in killing him. However, he got 3 shots on me, blew me up. This is actually different than the Laser and the Hydra, because the Laser and the Hydra, they take 2 shots to blow up with the explosive sniper. This thing, the Raiju, takes 3 shots. But once you hit them with 2 shots from the explosive sniper, the jet is pretty much ruined either way at that point. It's eventually going to get disabled. Now, as for homing launchers, it takes 3 homing launchers to blow up. I want to also thank my friend Jacob, Music Life, Rodriguez, Sebi, and also Melon for helping me with the damage tests here. But what really confused me was that one time here, the aircraft actually exploded in one homing launcher. I don't know why that happened. I freshly spawned the aircraft. The aircraft was not damaged beforehand, and it just exploded with one homing missile. I don't know why that happened. I tried to hit the jet in different parts to see if there was like a weak spot or something, but from what I've seen, there really isn't. So it might have been a glitch that got blown up in one hit once, but I just wanted to show that regardless because I just found that really odd. So in most cases, it'll take 3 homing missiles, but like I said, is if this jet is trying to hit you and you're on foot, don't use the homing missiles, because any good pilot can easily dodge and outrun the missiles. Use the explosive sniper. Jet pilots hate when you use the explosive sniper when they're trying to kill you. That's your best friend. And lastly, I'll say this, that if a homing missile actually hits this thing in the right spot, like actually hits it near its wing or actually hits it in the engine, the plane will actually start shaking uncontrollably, like right here. So on the second missile, it's pretty much done at that point. It becomes very difficult to fly it. And here we come to the pros and the cons. The pros are, it's the fastest jet in the game. From what I've seen, tested it against a bunch of other aircraft, I haven't seen any aircraft that can beat this thing in speed. It's very agile. You can even make very sharp turns at top speed. It has explosive guns. Now, these guns, like I said, they have been kind of nerfed. They have the same power as the laser and the Hydra, the same rate of fire, but, I'm not too concerned with that personally. I think it's a way to balance out the jet, so I wouldn't even put that as a con. We have a stealth mode on this thing, definitely a plus. It can hide from players, and it can lose to cops fast. So that stealth mode can bring down a 5-star to a 2-star, just like the Stealth Annihilator and the Akula. But I would just say watch out for these jets, because if you play in public lobbies and you sell in public lobbies, I can imagine somebody would be abusing the stealth mode to grief cargo. And we have a VTOL mode, it can hover. And has good armor. It can take 3 homing missiles versus 2. That keeps you alive longer in the air with this thing. And the cons? It's very expensive, and really, to tell you guys the truth, I wasn't able to really think of another con. There's very few reviews that I do like this, where we have, it's just so one-sided. It's just the pros, it's like almost all pros and very little cons. Cons are the only thing it's expensive, and you can lower that by over $1.5 million just by completing, the new storyline, the Project Operation Overthrow, Project Overthrow. If you complete that, get $1.5 million off of it. It's still expensive, but a lot less. So that's really the only con I can think of that it's expensive. If there is another con, let me know. But overall, definitely buy this thing. I would say this is probably going to be one of the most important vehicles ever to be released in GT Online, and this is a vehicle that you will see people using for years to come. This is a very common vehicle that I guarantee you will see in so many lobbies, and whenever you see dogfights, I guarantee you this is going to be a very common vehicle in dogfights. So overall, great jet, and I enjoyed it. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys like reviews like this, I plan on doing the weaponized Kanata also. So thank you guys for watching. Hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do drop a like. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.